Hello everybody, this is Kelly Oblak for this week's Stash It Monday. This is our inspiration piece this week, and I love the soft pink and the soft gray in the yarn, and that cupcake reminded me of a ruffle as well, or the frosting, so you'll see how I use that. This is a photo of my cat, and he recently was pretty sick, and I had to give him amoxicillin for 2 weeks, and he was not a fan of that. And this page is going to be pink and gray, but it's about my male cat, which is okay because the amoxicillin is pink, and that's where I got that color from. So I'm working with L Studio papers here, and lots of L Studio die cuts and cut aparts and those kinds of things. That piece of paper, the ombre striped paper there, is from Ellie Studio Little Moments, and the paper is called All My Heart, as is the heart paper. That's the reverse of that ombre piece. I happen to have 2 pieces from the kit, so I just cut that, and I'm trying to expose quite a bit of that paper around the edges so you can really see the ombre piece. And now I have that little pink heart paper strip there, and that is from Little Moments. It's called Happiness. It has little tiny pink hearts on it. I'm going to use that to mat my photo, but I'm not exactly sure how much of that I'm going to use yet, or how deep I want that to be. Now that ruffle is a very old piece. It's from Dear Lizzie, and it's from the Neapolitan collection, and it's the stitched ruffle paper, and I think Neapolitan was one of her very first collections, if I remember correctly. So I'm just kind of trying to figure out like how I want to mount that. Do I want to mount it under the photos, or do I want to mount it under the paper itself? And I decided to mount it under the photos. I do still have a little piece of paper. I cut most of it away underneath that ruffle. They taped it, because you could use the whole piece of paper, or you could cut the ruffles apart. I think everything I did, I cut them apart. And I have I think I have one more piece of this in a darker pink, and some yellow left. So anyway, that gray paper is also from Little Moments. It's called Details. And then I have that journaling card there that says the details documented. That is from Ellie Studio, the Little Moments. It's the journaling tags. Now I'm going to take my Memento gray flannel ink, and most of the time when I do this, I ink direct to the paper with this paper pad, but because the gray is so soft, I want the gray ink to be soft as well too. So what I'm going to do is I used my blending tool, my Tim Holtz blending tool, to just soften up that gray. So it almost looks black. It's not quite as harsh as black, but it almost looks black if you do it direct to the paper. So now I have a rectangle. It's almost a square, but a rectangle of the heart paper down, and I have my photo all matted, and I'm going to kind of figure out how and where I want this to sit on that heart paper. I want to see quite a bit of the hearts, so I decide to mount it a little bit more towards the top, so you can see a row at the top and then 2 full rows at the bottom. And I'll just cut that ruffle up a little bit, and again, that came from the frosting on the cupcakes, especially that pink cupcake just reminded me of a ruffle. And when I thought about that, I thought, you know, I think I might still have some of these ruffles left. I'm going to ink my journaling card there, and then I'll tuck it under the layers of the photo and the ruffle there. Now, I love that ombre paper, and so much of it is covered up that what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to my trimmer, and I'm going to gut it so that I can use it on a layout sometime in the future. And I was kind of careful about how I did that, because normally when I use a border, it's a square. In this particular case, it was a rectangle, so I had to be a little bit careful about how that was. And I just realized I had not inked my gray paper yet, so I'm going to do that. Now the nice thing about this is I actually inked things before I glued them down. Oftentimes I decide I want to do that later. And for some reason when I use Ellie Studio product, their collections, I often like to ink them. I think their edges a lot of times, or their papers are softer for some reason, and so I want to do that. Then you get to see my messy morning hair. All right, and I'll just glue down that edge. Now, I really liked that card that said, "This is all that matters." And I think it said, like, "This is all that matters this moment," or something. I can't see the full card anymore because I did tuck part of that in. So I really wanted that to feature on my paper, or on my layout in some way. And then I liked that Today acrylic, just that, you know, to remind me that sometimes, some days, that is all that matters, that nothing else going on matters. So that Today comes from Ellie Studio. It's no particular collection, they just sell them on their website. Then I found this My Heart Belongs to You cut apart from the Ellie Studio Little Moments highlight paper, and it's the cut apart paper. That's the same place that the This Is All That Matters piece comes from. And then I have that little banner that says, "I love you always and forever." That came from the Little Moments Bits and Pieces. I like that heart, that square heart, but I think it's a little bit too big. So you can't see me doing this, sorry, but I am fussy cutting the heart out. And I will tell you that I wish now that after I finished it, that I had left a thicker border on it, because there's a lot of white showing on that heart, and that kind of bothers me a little bit, but I'm going to take care of some of that white space. So here's where I cut that This Is All That Matters down so I could get it to fit onto the white paper, and I'm thinking I'm going to use the heart there, but that will change. The gray heart, I don't think I told you where that was from. The gray heart in the bottom right cluster there is also from the Little Moments Bits and Pieces. And now, I'm kind of working with other pieces here, trying to decide. That little piece does not end up on there. I'm kind of playing with the piece from a Cartabella collection, which is that label I have in my hand right now. And then another piece from one of the Bits and Pieces or cut aparts. I don't remember where that came from, but that piece is not going to stay on the layout, so I didn't make note of where it was from. And I keep my collections in Crupper Hopper paper envelopes, including the pieces like the cut aparts that go with it and the die cuts, until I feel like I've used up a good portion of one or the other, the paper or the pieces. That's the highlights paper right there. I'm looking for something else to go in that top cluster. It just doesn't feel right. And I saw that card with that really deep, the deep pink that's from the bottom of this paper, and that deep pink isn't appearing anywhere else right now. The lighter pinks are appearing all over. And it says Today. So I'm going to use that to ground the rest of this cluster. I'm not loving that small die cut there, so I'm going into one of my grab bags. I just got some grab bags from Ellie Studio on Thanksgiving weekend for Black Friday. So I'm going through the Bits and Pieces grab bag right now. And those couple of things, like I said, I'm just auditioning things, trying them out, trying to, you know, seeing what I think about them. That story die cut is from the grab bag. And I have one more piece. This Forever and Always piece is also from the grab bag. And that will, now I have the pieces on the layout that will stay on the layout. And I think I was uploading a video to YouTube at the time I was doing this, so that's where I disappeared for a second. I needed to just, my laptop goes, even though there is something uploading, my laptop will go blank and it'll stop the upload, so I have to kind of keep a little bit of an eye on that, and that's what I was doing. Now I'm going to take that die cut that says I love you always and forever, and just put some foam tape on the back of that to give it a little bit of dimension. There's dimension in the, you know, with the today, and there's dimension with the with I love you for always and forever. And I know I'll do something in the top that adds a little bit of a different texture to it, but nothing there is going to get dimension. So I'm just getting those pieces down and inking them as I go. And I did manage to remember to ink every piece on this layout. It's kind of funny when you go back and you look at them when you're all done sometimes, like, you know, an hour later when you're putting it in your album and you realize that, oops, I did not ink a piece of that, but oh well, too late. All right. The Little Moments collection is a couple of years old, and then I use mostly stuff from my stash here of things. That Dear Lizzie piece is probably one of the older things in my stash in general, so I was glad that I was able to use that. I did use my new bag of bits and pieces grab bag piece, but other than that, everything else here is a little bit older. Not so exciting when you're watching me do that. It's actually kind of nice to be narrating regular video. I've been doing so much December daily work and getting those videos up for all of you that it's kind of nice for me to just do a regular layout. And I think if I didn't have the Crafty Maven work to do, I don't know that I would even do regular layouts during this time of year. I often don't. There's so much else going on that my December daily is or my holiday daily in my case is usually the only scrapbooking that I do during the holiday season. So it's nice to be working with a full sheet of paper. It's using a different scrapbooking muscle, I guess, than the pocket pages that I use on a normal basis. So if you're interested, go to my channel, and I have a whole series of holiday daily pages there. I also, in the comments, I will link in the description here my Flickr channel and my own channel. So if you go to Flickr, there are also albums of my past holiday dailies / December dailies, so that you'll be able to see those. And then again, you can follow along with me on my own personal channel with what I'm doing for my holiday daily. I've been uploading a video every day so far, so I'm really excited about that. So what I did is I wanted a little bit of a different texture, so I went to my October Afternoon Pop Drops from the Under the Tree collection, just because they happen to be handy. They're right next to me in my holiday daily basket of goodies. And I knew there was a hot pink in there, and I knew there was a light pink in there. So I'm just going to add those into the clusters there for a little bit of a different texture, and it brings the dark pink from the bottom and the light pink from the top together. I like how that just adds a little bit of touch, and you see that all together then. And now I just have a little bit of journaling. I use an American Crafts .03 pen to do my journaling. At least that's what I'm using right now. Sometimes I use the .05, but my .05, the nib on it is going bad, and it's not always reliable, so I probably should just throw that out and use it, get ready to use another pen. So that white space on that heart as I'm doing this is bothering me, so I'm going to just add a little bit of journaling on that, and I think it takes away some of the impact of all the white on that. Just that big white space right now is causing me to focus on the white space, which is causing me to focus on the medication instead of on the cat picture itself. So I am all finished. Hope you are all well, and we will be back with another video tomorrow. Bye!